Hello everyone, my name is Blackwatch. I make Siege videos, guides, lore, all sorts of stuff, and if you've seen my stuff in the past, thank you for coming back. And if this is new to you, then I hope my opinion here doesn't upset you too much. I hope that maybe you even agree with it to some extent, but really this is just to cover something that is a problem with Siege and has always been a problem with Siege, and might not be at some point in this year, but we can't know for sure until the change actually gets rolled out and we get to see it. So Siege really struggles with onboarding, and it always has, as I mentioned. It's not a very clear game. Now, I get that it's supposed to be complex. There's always going to be a level of depth that you really require playtime and experience to be able to get past, because ultimately the map knowledge element of Siege is massive and it's going to dictate a lot of the stuff that actually happens in the game in terms of the way that you can affect it. But it's very, very bad at explaining itself. Give you a perfect example. If you go on to Nock and her operator page on Siege in the game itself, now I don't class going onto YouTube videos done by other people as a valid excuse for this. There should be clear enough descriptions for players to be able to actually pick up an operator and understand what they do in advance of playing as them. If you go into that particular page and you look at her ability, it will tell you this: counter intel that wipes Nock's image from observation tools and reduces her noise, with exceptions. How is that of any use to fucking anybody in this game, with exceptions? Great stuff, Ubisoft. I mean, it's not that the explanation is not there. It's just it's not in the right place. You have to go onto the Siege website to find this information out. And it's not exactly a long paragraph that they'd have to include for new players to then look at this and go, oh, that's how she works. I don't have to guess or somehow understand that something that only the enemy team will observe is taking place when I play this operator. People are going in blind. And why is that the case? Why are we sitting here 7 years into the game, and admittedly they are talking about making changes in this regard, making the onboarding better, including tips and things like that in the game. But why have we been in this position where we have such vague, utterly useless descriptions of what an operator does? I mean, you take Hibana's description, it doesn't even mention the fact that it breaches reinforced walls. It just says that it explodes. It shoots pellets that explode. It doesn't say that they stick to surfaces. It doesn't say that it will breach reinforced surfaces. So if you're a brand new player who doesn't engage with the YouTube community or anything like that when it comes to Siege, what are you supposed to do? You just have to guess. And that's not right, it's not fair. And it just, things like that make it frustrating, because I have a lot of friends who have repeatedly either come and gone or maybe dipped their toe into Siege, and then the thing that always puts them off is how dense the game is, needlessly dense. There are other games that are difficult to understand and take time for you to pick up on things. Like, I'll take Deep Rock Galactic as an example, but at least it explains the gameplay elements, and it makes it quite clear what everything does. Yeah, you might not get every nuance, yeah, you might make mistakes or do things that are to the detriment of the player base, but ultimately those are little niche things that you might not understand. In terms of the balls and brass of what you actually need to be able to do with each character, it's all explained well in advance. What they do, how it works, what it's even going to look like. It will show you an example of what the gadget or whatever it is that you're using does and how that's going to affect your gameplay environment. Siege does none of that at all, and it doesn't make any sense. If we can clear up issues like that, give short, easy to understand descriptions of different things, and have just a glossary of terms, because there are so many terms that are so widely adopted by the community. Why not give them official backing and just put them into a glossary so that a new player coming in, when he's communicating with new or with new teammates, or people that he's never encountered before, who can be quite openly hostile, because as much as I like to think you guys are all lovely, you're not always. You want to be able to actually understand what people are saying, because it's like a foreign language. Anyway, that's my piece on the matter. I really think this is something that can be addressed quite easily. Kind of like a turkey voting for Christmas, because that's essentially what I do just now, but it would be a good thing for the game to have those things built into the systems, instead of it having to rely on people like me to help people out with the most basic elements of the game. But it is what it is, and as I say, I have a lot of faith in this current team. I think they've been doing some really good stuff as of late. I think this season is the best one we've seen in years, and I hope that what they've mentioned about the improvements to onboarding in the coming seasons this year will end up delivering on what I'm asking for just now. So fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. Do pobачення, everybody. Bye bye.